Hey mama, do you have a family full of spontaneous people that just don't fully appreciate your planner mindset? Or maybe your husband and kids love that you plan everything, but would like their support every once in a while? Oh, I've been there, mama. In fact, I am living this daily. And because of that, I've come up with my own strategies of how to best communicate my plans and get everyone else on board. Today, I am opening up that door and sharing with you my top 3 tried and tested tips that'll be sure to get your family in the planning mindset and create ease in your future goals and plans starting today. Time to bust out your planner and highlighters. You're going to want to take notes on this one. Let's get to it. Hey mama, welcome to the Energized Mama podcast. Do you want a better work-life balance and more time and energy? Do you find yourself thinking, how can I add more hours into the day? Or are you Googling how to deal with mom guilt and can my marriage survive toddlers? Do you wake up with big goals only to feel overwhelmed and defeated when you have no one to help you and your littles aren't listening to you again? Hey, I'm Cheyanne. I too was an exhausted mom away from the help of my family. I too felt constantly drained with a strong-willed toddler and wished I could find balance between being a wife, a mom, stepmom, and entrepreneur. I wanted more energy to give myself and my husband, to discipline my kids confidently, and incorporate faith into our home. All the things, right? But I kept telling myself that I couldn't do it feeling this exhausted and without a community supporting around me. Until I found a healthy balance and endless energy in raising Jesus-loving littles. In this podcast, you will find that too. You will find time and energy boosting tips and tricks, guidance for disciplining your littles, and what to do when you have no help so that you will find balance between all your roles. Stop feeling drained and learn to trust your own mom tuition. Time to grab those headphones, pour that green smoothie, and get ready to get your daily energy boost. I've got you, mama. As promised, mama, time is of the essence, so we are going to dive right in. So my first tip for you today out of 3 is simply live or lead by example. Now, I know, we all know this one, right? But it really is the best way to get your family on board. The best thing you can do is to show them how this works out in your own life. For people who don't have that planner mindset, it can be really hard to see the fruition, to see the end goal of what planning actually provides and does. So make it visual. Create visual calendars that they can actually see around the house, that they can see what you do. I know in my own life, I used to make my planners more private in my Google Drive, and I would kind of write out my schedule and things. And then I realized, well, my husband has no idea that I do this. He sees what comes out of it, but he doesn't see the actual planning and practice that goes into it. And once I made it more visual for him, he really started to see, oh, okay, so like this is how she gets it done. Even if it didn't encourage him to do it himself, it at least actually opened up the conversation for him to ask me, how are you doing with your planning? Are you working out your plan, or what's on the plan today? So it caused him to actively want to be more involved the more that he actually saw it. Now, you can also do this in leading by example by speaking about your plans and doing so often. Again, what may seem like repetitiveness to you is not necessarily the same thing when, again, you have more spontaneous family members. You want to go ahead, share your process and how you do it. Of course, all in the correct timing and with the correct expectations. The goal should be to share with your family more of how you do it and how you are helping your family, not necessarily in trying to convince them to do it themselves along with you. Okay, so tip number 1 as a review, live and lead by example. That's not too bad, right? Well, number tip coming at you is then involve them, right? Do you totally know you could just rock this planning thing on your own? Yeah, I'm there too. I know that sometimes it is just easier to do it all by yourself. In fact, my own husband often encourages me to do so. He just says, girl, just let your freak flag fly. Just go with it. Go with your own planning mindset. However, I noticed that the more I involve my husband and our teenager, the more that they get into it themselves. And it's great because it's great that it doesn't only affect my planning for our family, but also it affects how they plan out their days as well. For instance, let me give you a little example. When we plan a day away, instead of putting all the planning responsibility on me, although I have to say, I kind of love it. Yes, okay, maybe I have a little bit of control issues, but I digress. I'm keeping it real here with you on the podcast. I aim to involve them as much as possible, even if that just means like sending them ideas for, say, the excursions we could do while we're away or restaurant choices. So in that way, I get a little bit of feedback and I get to lighten the load on myself, and they also get to see, okay, yes, that's right, that we should put that plan in motion, kind of get their juices flowing towards making this as much of a collaborative experience as possible to make this excursion as family oriented as possible as well, right? A great way to also do this is, besides just, sharing with them ideas, is also to ask questions or maybe follow-up questions to the ideas you sent them. And this way you're showing them that you do care about their involvement and their opinions. Now, they don't have to necessarily have all of the answers. I know that my husband, sometimes he feels a lot of pressure when I send him things and I don't actually share with him my expectations. He feels and has shared with me that, oh no, am I supposed to now make this choice? So that's why follow-up questions can be very helpful here, so that your family members, again, who maybe have a little bit of fear of, and what is that? Not analysis paralysis, but getting paralyzed by making decisions, or if they feel overwhelmed to make decisions for the whole family, allow them to know that you're just trying to have them involved, and you validate and you want to know their opinion in a way that can help best suit you to then set you up to let your, as my husband says, let your freak flag fly, let your planner flag fly, and allow you to do what God has blessed you in your natural gifting. Okay, Mama, you've made it here to tip number 3. I promised you we were going to get in, get out. As a quick review, your first tip was to live and lead by example. Your second tip with how to get your spontaneous family members more in the planner mindset is to then involve them. And last but not least is encourage and guide. Now, I have a question for you. Do you see very, very plainly and bluntly where your family could very obviously need help with planning? Well, instead of, instead of telling them what to do, let's show them what to do. Guide them along in this journey. Remember, this is your forte, not theirs. It's always good to do any kind of expectation check before we go and engage in conversation with any of our family members, right? I'll give you another example. So my bonus teen daughter, she recently started planning out for herself, and how we did this and helping her create these new healthy habits was buying her a weekly planner. Now, I could have come at her in saying like, oh, I see you messing up here, or I see you could use help here, and I think you should do this and that. But ultimately, that's not going to best communicate how she can then see the bonus and the positive of planning for herself, right? And ultimately, plans don't work if you don't work the plan, right? And someone else in your family is not going to work your plan out as well as they're going to work their own plan out. So again, it's really great to just submit and surrender that, hey, maybe planning is your gifting, not theirs. So one of the best ways we can do, I believe, in life is to look at our gifts and check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, meaning that you want to make sure that your gift is being used in the way that God intended. And the way you can do this is always acknowledge that any gift, I really do believe, comes with a lot of strength, but also some weakness. And the weakness here can be the expectations that we put on our family members to believe that they too should do this planning, and it should be natural, and they should do this and they should do that. Well, instead, maybe it's more in your zone of genius to either do the planning for your family because you're a natural, or 2, again, guide them along. One great tip is to always just ask more questions than you make more statements. That's just kind of a good rule in life and a really good rule to follow in communication. So that can apply here too. And just know that at the end of the day, it might just be best that you continue to plan and share with your family your plans, incorporate them in, but then you just own that zone of genius, Mama. Don't apologize for it. Don't feel like you're boring, and own this beautiful gift that God has given you. Wow, didn't that episode just fly on by? I hope you had fun learning all about how to incorporate a planner mindset within your home and help your family see your side, or at least start to see things a little bit your way. I would love to hear your feedback and anything that you want to add or that you would add to this episode. And the best way you can let me do that is go over to Apple Podcasts and hit the review button. Leave me a review and share with me what you thought of this episode or just the podcast in general. It's the best way that I know how these episodes are hitting you right in your core, right in your soul, and also knowing what kind of episodes I can continue to offer in the future, because this podcast is not about me. It's about you and your family and your story and your journey as you continually aim to find balance and raise Jesus-loving littles. My heart is to encourage you and inspire you and to keep pushing you on. So, Mama, thank you so much for listening to another episode. I can't wait to see you on the next one here at Mom Nation.
Hey, girlfriend. Yes, Mama, I'm talking to you. I have a question for you. Do you wish that there was a way to stop feeling emotionally drained by your life as a mom of littles? Or how about have more energy for your husband without constantly feeling physically exhausted? I know what it feels like to want more from your life than just being a mom. I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed with where to begin to stop the stress in my everyday life and to have absolutely no idea what healthy habits to implement in my own home that'll actually make a difference. I know what it feels like to be totally lost and how to create a realistic and sustainable plan that works for me and not everyone else. And just to basically think, I just can't be energetic while I parent a household full of littles that demand so much of me. And, well, at least one that doesn't rely on either coffee for energy or wine to de-stress. Am I right? Let's take a moment and imagine if you no longer felt completely exhausted at the end of your day. What if you had the time to go on dates with your husband and you had the energy to give yourself some much needed me time and you had easy to implement systems and strategies that would allow you to be that energetic and vibrant mama that you want to be, all while still raising your kids the way you want? Well, I have great news for you. That's why I created the More Energy Method, a customized blueprint to clear your chaos and bring back more energy into your everyday life. It's where I teach you to decrease stress while increasing your energy. Win-win. You'll be able to stick with this super simple plan, tailor-made for you, mama, that will establish new healthy habits that'll unlock energy without taking away focus from your kids or require huge commitments of time. You'll walk away with crystal clear clarity of exactly what to focus on, with a plan that'll help you know exactly how to do it and the confidence as a woman, wife, and mother to make the changes you need to and to keep them for good. So if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and exhausted the moment you wake up and instead trade that in for feeling rejuvenated throughout the day and go to bed satisfied, even as a busy mom of littles, then head right now to energyformoms.com and grab hold of my Blast Off to Summer special where you will get $40 off. Did you know that the average cost of drinks on a date night is $40? Hey, consider that my gift from me to you and your husband, mama. Now, this offer expires July 31st, so don't miss out. Head on over to energyformoms.com. It's time to lose the stress while gaining yourself back and have endless amounts of energy for yourself, for your husband, and a life beyond just your littles.